Hello, everyone, wherever you're joining me from. Thank you for joining me. In this live video, I am going to be going over grading your Amazon book pages and determining whether or not they're turning the readers off. Now, this is super, super important. Why is this important? Well, we spend so much time, energy, money actually getting people to our Amazon pages. We want to make sure that they're actually converting when they're there. And when I say converting, they're taking some sort of action. And the action we want them to take is to either buy or read our book. And I say buy or read because sometimes people are confused. Well, yeah, they just buy our book, right? I say buy or read because if your book is in Kindle Unlimited, they're going to read your book. So those are the actions that we want them to take. So when some people come up to me, so a lot of you know that I am a book marketing coach. I do one-on-one and group coaching, and I'll talk more about the group coaching opportunity later on in the session. Yeah, good evening from the UK. Thanks for joining me. I'm just looking at the comments here. Um, yeah, what I was getting back to, whenever I do any sort of coaching with anybody, before we start sending people to the page, I always look at the page itself, and I look at like, okay, um, I look at the cover, I look at the description, I look at how many reviews we have, and the another path that another area that someone's going to look at is the look inside. And I don't get into that too much because that gets into like a whole developmental edit type of thing, and I'm just, if I started telling a whole bunch of people like, oh yeah, change the first 10% of your book to look inside, I'll probably get virtually slapped um, all day. So that is what we're going to look at, and that is the importance of it. So yeah, a lot of people are look externally. That's what a lot of people do when they come to me and they say, Denis, what is a website that I can go to get people to go to my to buy my book? And that's not always the right question. What we need to do is go back a couple of steps and actually look at the page itself. Because we could send, it's fairly easy too. It's fairly easy to send just like massive dumps of um, possible readers to your page. But when they get to the page, if they don't buy it or read it, then it's pointless. It's a big waste of money, big waste of energy. You feel crappy about yourself. Um, yeah. Anyways, so I think I talked enough about the importance of going over or improving the book page. And just one more thing I want to add as well. Things are getting more and more competitive. Back even when I started in 2017, like I didn't know what I was doing. I put up a cover, I put up a description, really didn't know what I was doing. I was converting. A couple years later, it wasn't converting close to as well. So it's getting more and more competitive. So you really, really have to have a good package. You really have to have it nice, packaged up beautifully. So what did I do? Um, yeah, what I'm gonna be doing is grading your Amazon book pages. So I reached out to my Facebook group. I'm streaming this to YouTube and to my Facebook profile and to the Facebook group. So if you're not part of my group, it's self-publishing, writing, and marketing. So I reached out to my group and I asked for some volunteers, and I picked three people to evaluate their book pages. And while we go through this, if anyone has any comments or questions, certainly do put them in. I will read them as I go along. But I've researched these three people, and I don't want to be mean to them. There is room for improvement in all of them, and pretty much all book pages that I come across, there's room for improvement. So I reached out to them. I'm not going to be mean about it. I'm just going to do it for the benefit of them and for the benefit of everyone watching. I'll show you the exact process I go through when or before, even sometimes before I take on a new coaching client. But yeah, let's get started. I'm going to go through what I don't like and what can be improved and how to improve it. Okay, so first book we have here by Jules Grant. I reached out to her. She was very nice, out of the UK. Let me just make sure. Oh, no. Yeah, wait. There we are. Okay. you should see me. There we are. Okay. Uh, okay, now you see it. Okay. Yeah, this is from Jules Grant from the UK. She was very, very nice and very open for allowing me to evaluate her book page on live on camera. This is her first book, and from what I understand, it is a coming of age dystopian fantasy type of book. So I always start at the path that the reader takes. Now, this is going to be super, super helpful for everyone watching this. The path the reader takes, this is what the path that they take. And you need to nail all of those nodes on the path, or you risk getting bottlenecked. One of those nodes on the path, which is slowing down your sales. So let's talk about this path. So the path is they're going to first look at the cover. So regardless of what we do, if we do book promotions or if we do Amazon ads or Facebook ads or like newsletter swaps, anything they do, people are going to be noticing your cover. And people say, you can't judge a book by your cover. That's absolutely true. People will judge your book by its cover, but it is not the most important factor to conversions, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But we need it to be on point and on genre and quality looking to actually get people to click on your page and then move on to the next stage. So that's the first thing I'll be looking at is the book cover. So let's talk about the book cover. Zero Dark Origins. I don't think the cover's horrible, but it certainly can use some improvement. The one thing I don't really like is the font, specifically the font for the actual title, the Zero Dark Origins. I feel like the font is not really on genre for the fantasy. And you could follow along here and be the own kind of critique along with me, and you could be like, oh yeah, Ginny, he's full of crap, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. I love that cover. But let's talk about it a little bit more. Yeah, this font I don't love. I feel like it's just too plain Jane. I feel like this Origins should be like a different font or like a different size or something. I don't love the cover. And what I do with the group coaching experience that'll be starting August 17th, and with my one-on-one clients, is we go through a complete exercise to find what are the top selling books that are most similar. So say if I was working with Jules here. Jules, let's go through an exercise together and let's pick the top selling books that are most similar to yours. Now, how to figure out if they're top selling, how to figure out that are most similar, we get into in the coaching. I don't have time to get into it today, but we go into the different categories. We use search bar, we use Goodreads, we use the also bots, and I don't see any here yet. Anyways, we go into the customer also bots, and we take note of all of the covers that are actually doing well, and then we take that information and we give that to our book cover designer to actually design a cover with the inspiration of the best-selling covers. So I don't know if Jules did this or not, but I'm just looking here now. Categories can be like a real mixed bag. Like Amazon is starting to improve their categories, but it's still like you'll go into a category and like you'll find books in here that make no sense. So maybe hers is, a lot of these covers seem to have, okay, well, there's a few covers here with like actual just symbols. I'm doing this off the cuff here, but there seems to be a lot of books here. And again, I don't know if these books are similar to hers. I would have to click on them and find out. But a lot of these covers here have actual like people on the cover, or at least like a silhouette of a person. I don't see a lot here with like just a symbol, where as Jules just has this symbol, and I'm sure it's very important to the actual story. But yeah, I feel like the cover could be redone to be more on genre. Now, the next path that, or the next node that the potential reader takes is the book description. And the book description is the biggest factor to whether or not someone's going to take an action. The reader's going to take an action. And I show people this all the time. I show my coaching clients this all the time. How readers pick what to read next. And this was a big survey done by Written Word Media. And Written Word Media is a pretty big player in the space. They own like Free Booksy and Bargain Booksy, if you've ever heard of those. So this was done, what was that, like a year ago? But they asked readers, what are the most important factors when deciding whether to read a book? They had the number of reviews, book cover, and book description. So you can see here by the longer bar that book description was actually the most important factor, whether or not someone was going to take an action. That action, of course, being whether to buy or read your book. So we know that, of course, the cover has to be on point because that is what people are going to notice first. But the book description is going to be the biggest factor, whether or not they buy or read. So what are we looking for in a book description? First thing I always look at is the actual formatting of the description. So if when you actually go through that exercise as well, I make people take note of, not write it down, but read the actual descriptions to get an idea of what are the best-selling book descriptions in their space as well. And people love the exercise. It's funny how as we get older and the things that we're really excited about, like I remember in school I always hated it. But whenever there's an exercise to work on my business or to work on my books, I'm so giddy and so I love it, and so do most of my clients. Which it's kind of funny how things change. Yeah, I always look at the formatting. So what we want is a tagline at the very top, and we want that bolded. So that is going to be the first thing that the potential reader notices when they get to the description. So Jules reads, "What would you do to survive?" That's not bad. That kind of draws me in. That's not actually you. Seems to be italicized. I like that. And then copywriting. The description is all copywriting, and that's why so many people have such difficulty writing their own description. If you don't have the proper formula for it, especially. Um, yeah, because it's a different type of writing. It's not the normal type of fiction writing. It's what we call copywriting. And it's much more difficult to write it. But copywriting essentially is a type of writing that you try to get someone to take an action. You know, give up their email address or buy the book. So that's the type of writing it is. I read this ahead of time, and maybe you did read it as well while I was blurbing on, I was talking on there. But the description can use some work as well. What we're looking for in the description is essentially what we're looking for is of course that headline that draws the readers in, and I think that's a good start where she is right now. And what we're looking for is, so there's three parts to the description. There's the headline, there's the body, and then there's the call to action. So let's talk about the body of the body. Is what we want to outline is what the main journey is. We want to introduce the main character, and we want to follow their story up until the actual climax of the book. Now, I'm not a blurb expert. I could tell whether something is a great blurb or a blurb that needs improvement. My girlfriend actually writes blurbs professionally. So she is, I would call, a blurb master. So I take a lot of tips from her, especially with my books. But with this specific book, with Jules, what I recommend is, I would say, I read this. What I would say is I want to know a little bit. I need more words here. Not a ton more words, but I need like probably another 2 sentences in terms of the actual length. The formatting is pretty good. In terms of, it breaks it up pretty well. But what I'm looking for as well is, for 16-year-old Ray, nothing is off limits when it comes to fighting for those she loves. In a few horrific months, her world goes from idyllic to apocalyptic. I would like the first sentence here: nothing is off limits when it comes to fighting for those she loves. I would like it to be something about where her world was idyllic. Give me a little bit about how was she before this happened. The typical like Act One type of stuff in a book. I want a sentence about that, something that would be relatable, preferably relatable to the potential audience. And if this is the case, then it would be the coming of age young adult audience. So that's what I would like as the first sentence, and then just follow the story structure in terms of, and then everything changed. Something entered into her life where she had to make a decision, and then what were some of the challenges along the way, and then the call to action can be the call to action doesn't have to be buy now, or go up and hit that buy now button or something like that. It could be, will what was the MC's name again? Ray. Will Ray ever make it out alive before her world collapses or something like that? Something to for the reader to be like, "Whoa, man, that sounds really good." Um, yeah. So I'm not going to spend too much more time on that because this video is going to take forever. But that's the next path. So again, different nodes in the path: cover, description being the most important thing. Next, they look at the ratings and the reviews, I should say, and or the look inside. Now, when I go down to reviews here, I can see it. We have 4 ratings globally and review from the UK. I would like to see some more reviews here. And this was from January. I would like to see more reviews here before kicking up marketing efforts. What we try to aim for is at least 5 reviews. I mean, at least it's good, like 5 out of 5. So she's on the right path. So the most dangerous time is in those first 5 to 10 reviews, because if you don't control those as best as possible, of course we can't. We have to keep it within the Amazon's terms of service. But the thing is, if you get like a 1-star or a 2-star in the first 5 to 10 reviews, like you're digging yourself out of a hole. Like it is tough. It's really tough to get some traction that way. So Jules is on the right path. What I'd like to see is 5 to 10 ratings before really start throwing marketing at this. And again, the look inside where people can read up to the top or the front 10%. Oh, I like this actually. The map. I like that. That's good. Yeah. And I don't get into that because that is whole developmental editing thing, and I am not a developmental editor. I'm not a copy editor. I'm not a proofreader. I'm nothing like that. I could not do any of that. I'm not made for that. So yeah, this is Jules' book. Hopefully, Jules, this was helpful. Next one is Danielle. We're going to be moving on to the next one. This one here needs more work as well. Again, the cover is going to be the first thing. The cover could certainly use some improvement. When I look at the cover, I just don't know what genre it is. There's like rules to every genre that to make the book on genre, to make the cover. Because when you look at a cover, I want to be like, okay, well, this looks like a sci-fi. This looks like a mystery. This looks like a whatever. I look at this and I just don't know what it would be. Like it's a rock salt, I think, with like a necklace. I'm not sure exactly the memes, and even the title doesn't really give me much either. What is it? It's children's folk tales and myths. One of the categories that she's in. Okay. However, so the same thing with Jules is go into actual whatever category, or like, see, look at this, like folk tales, children's and myths, and look at what's here, like how how crazy these categories are. There's stuff from Frozen here, and this guy, The Rock. There's a Peppa Pig. Yeah, I know Peppa Pig all too well. And then we got this in here. Like it's just a big. I can't curse. I don't want to curse, but S show. Like it's just all over the place. So yeah, I with hers, I would be, I would suggest. The young girl is relaxing at her favorite spot in the forest when suddenly she realizes she is being watched. It turns out to be Normal, who is in need of her help. His world is a hidden one, which is being kept alive by dreams and hopes of children. Elf-like people inhabit the colony. Uh, um, gosh, I don't even know what to look up. Elf children's books? That's gonna give me, yeah, that's not gonna give me anything. Yeah, yeah, I would do the exercise, go through Goodreads, try to find a couple of books that are selling well, and take inspiration from those, and then get a prof to it. I'm not sure if a professional did this or not, but another thing is, and that's sort of minor, but the actual title, when you see it like this, you see it like the full book cover, right? Like it's pretty easy to see with this. Like you have a big view of it. People are not going to see it in that big of a view unless you get like a newsletter and you pay like for a premium spot. People are going to be seeing it like in this small thumbnail view here, and you could see her book 2 is here as well. And this, what I'm going to say about her book 1 also applies to book 2, is that you want the title large enough to be seen, be read in this thumbnail view. So this one here, and let me just zoom in so everyone could see this a little bit easier. But see how this yellow doesn't really, it that's the trouble where the word the contrast, and I'll just click on it so we could see it better here. The word the um, goes over a dark part of the background and a light part of the background. So that makes it really, really difficult for the text to stand out, because like what do you do with the text, right? Do you make the text dark, or do you make the text light? Like the text is light here and it stands out in the dark background, but what if you made it dark? You know, it won't stand out on the dark background. So that makes it, from a design perspective, that makes it really difficult. Um, but yeah, that's other than like the cover needs to be redone anyway. The same thing with the description. This unfortunately reads too much like a book report. Unfortunately, it sounds like an interesting story, and that's the thing. Like, there's so many great books out there that people just unfortunately just don't package properly, so it doesn't get appeal. People don't take a chance on it, essentially. So reading through this, it does sound like a really interesting book. I would just love, it just deserves, to be packaged really well. Um, and this came out, a number of years ago, and any reviews. I would actually probably, I would consider taking the book down and repackaging it and relaunching it. Um, because getting reviews on a book that came out in 2014, it's gonna be a hard sell. It's gonna be a hard sell. It's just gonna be way easier, and yeah, just take the book down, unfortunately, and repackage it. Take a step back, um, repackage it, and then relaunch it. That would be my recommendation, by far. And the print length 58. Yeah, I didn't notice that until now. But what you really want to make sure as well is, and trying to put it in even the subtitle up here, is that it is a, I don't know, would this be like a novelette or a short story or novella? I'm not sure what the word count is on this, but once you start getting reviews, people are going to be pissed unless you specifically say that it is a novella or novelette. That's one of the reasons why those shorter stories get poor reviews, is because they go into the story thinking that'll be a full novel, and it just stops, and so people are pissed, um, and they leave bad reviews. So, oh, it looks like you had maybe like another cover before, like the pathway here. Can I see that? Oh yeah, it looks like you replaced the cover before. Yeah, yeah, unfortunately it needs to be replaced as well again. Check out getcovers.com. They could do it for as little as $25, and they're pretty decent. In terms of price, I'd probably put this at 99 cents as well for 58 pages, and then use that to get people to buy this book. And this is 106 pages. This is fine at $2.99. So anyways, yeah, we're going to move on. Hopefully that was helpful, Danielle, as well. And the third and last one we're going to look at is a nonfiction book. And this one hits close to home. This is Jimmy. I reached out to him, and this looks like a really good book. Let's talk about the path that we're going through here. And this to nonfiction when we get into the actual title. Now, the cover I love. I really like that's such a cool cover. Like, I don't know what the style of this is. Like a westerns. Like, I don't know what it is, but I really really like it. And I like the color. I love this image too of the monkey with the rabbit ears and the carrot. Like, it's really cool. The reviews again. At least it's the same thing with Danielle. I don't want to go over that again. The paperback, I don't talk too much about pricing. I did in the last one, but in terms of pricing, the paperback is really really low. I don't know what's going on here with the pricing. Like, the paperback is almost like it's almost as cheap as the Kindle. Like, why would anyone buy the Kindle? Um, but the thing I really wanted to point out here with Jimmy is the difficulty with this type of book. I'm not saying go and change it. I'm just saying there's a little bit more of an uphill battle. So with my book, Catch Unicorn, it doesn't automatically tell you what the book is about. Same thing with Chasing Carrots. I hear Chasing Carrots. I have no idea what the book is about. It says, and the subtitle is, Won't Help You Find Your Purpose If You Were Born to Love Bananas. So, like a 5 second rule, not the same rule, also named by, like if you drop food on the floor, 5 seconds and pick it up and eat it. But like the 5 second rule, like if someone was to go to your page and be like, within 5 seconds, they know what the book is about. They have an idea. I'm not 100% sure this would pass the 5 second rule. I get like won't help you find your purpose. So I'm assuming it'd be a book about like helping you find your purpose. So when I talk about, having firsthand knowledge here, Catch Unicorn, my nonfiction book, demystifying book marketing for fiction authors. Now, even just the title of Catch the Unicorn, it is a great branding strategy. It just means that it's more of an uphill battle for people to associate catching a unicorn with book marketing, right? So it's the same with people have to associate eventually chasing carrots with people also finding their purpose. So there's another rule as well, the 7 touch rule. And it's sort of the big thing in marketing where people need 7 touches before they need to see your brand 7 times before they take an action. This might be one of those. Certainly, I found that with Catch Unicorn as well. Let's use like another example here. That's super super obvious. How to market a book. Right. This doesn't apply to Jimmy's here, but to mine. Like, how to market a book. Boom. Like, exactly. Like, this passes like the 0.5 second rule, like a half a second rule. Like, immediately what it's about. So this requires little to no branding, and they have a big brand behind them, Reedsy. So if I would go back, I would name my book, How to Market a Fiction Book, something like that. I feel like that would be much easier. But I could take my lessons learned and pass it on to Jimmy and others that are watching this. I'll show you one success story that I had with one of my clients here, Peter, who's a great person out of Australia. He has a romance book called Sutherland Downs, and this was his original cover here. And when you look at the cover, you don't really know what genre it is. Like, it could be like a Western, maybe. I'm not sure exactly. Like, the font is just wasn't really doing it. So we did the exercise together. We did a coaching session together. We did the exercise. We passed it on to an illustrator, or a cover designer, I should say, that did it for only $25. But the exercise is the most important part of that. The exercise that we went to get through together. And so you could see here before he had 16 reviews. And then now, after, I don't know, a couple months, I think, 2 months maybe, he's up to 63 ratings. And this is his new cover, which made a world of difference. Yeah, it's a lot better, especially for $25. Like, it's just insane. So yeah, this is before and this is after. 16 reviews, 63 reviews. And this leads into my group coaching offering that I'll be starting August 17th. And the reason why I'm doing group coaching and I'm phasing out my one-on-one coaching is because, frankly, I'm just getting tired of like repeating myself. Like, I notice people are making consistently the same mistakes when they're both packaging their books and launching their books and marketing their books. So I released that is going to be starting August 17th. It's called Author's License to Swell, or Author's License to Sell Their Books. So you unlock the secrets to grow your fan base and to go from 0 to 00 wow status, where you can connect with readers who will enjoy and appreciate your books. And this will be linked, if it's not in the comments, I'll put it in the description. It might be in the comments already, but I'll put it in the comments or I'll put it in the description. But essentially, it's weekendpublisher.com/authors license to sell. And I'll just go over it just quickly here. What I cover. So it's an 8-week group coaching program, and there are 8 modules, 1 module per week. And module number 1, like I said, whenever I work with anybody, we have to focus on the page itself first, because it would be a complete disservice to you if I say, okay, let's start spending a bunch of money to send everyone to your page when I know it's not going to work. So we need to work on the page itself. So that week 1, we talk all about going through that exercise that I alluded to, how to find the top selling books in your genre, how to find those books, how to identify the books, how to do up the document that we eventually send to the cover designer, and which cover designers to use. Module 2 is taught by my just common law girlfriend, but wife, all about how to write your description in Blur. She talks for an hour about that. And it is, I say group coaching, but it's small group. I'm capping it at 10 people. I already have a few people who have joined, so there are limited spaces. So just keep that in mind. Module 3 is all about building your fan base. Now, email list building. People are like, oh man, like, I can't do that. The technology behind it, I'm just not very good with computers. I recommend the easiest email marketing service, and I break down like how exactly to do it, how to set up the whole technology behind that. And that's in week 3. Week 4, we start getting into launching. It's one of the bonus modules, actually, a strategic way to launch or relaunch your book to get it in the hot new release section of those categories, which is very possible. Then we talk about how to get more reviews, more beta readers, and ARC readers, which stands for Advanced Review Copy Readers. Then we get into, as well, this goes on to the actual page itself. We go over keywords and categories, how to find keywords and categories, and how to do it like within an hour, which is really powerful. Ongoing marketing and using social media, the pros and cons to social media. I'm going to be straight up. I'm not a huge fan of social media, and I know I'm saying that while talking to you on social media. But I'm not a huge fan of it for several reasons. So if you're sitting here and you're like, Denny, I'm not a big social media person, don't worry, I'm not either. You don't need social. It is handy to have for a couple of reasons. Handy to have to like keep in contact with your readers. Now, if you are a social media person, I go ahead. I am I track my time very carefully. I use software to track my time, and I look at returns on investment. What actions am I doing that is giving me the best return on investment? And spending them on social media as an author, as a fiction author, just doesn't do it for me. For other people, it might. So if you are doing social media, I would just invite you just to look at the time commitment that you are, and how much you're getting in return for that. And then for the ongoing marketing, what are the best marketing strategies that you can use that aren't going to take up all your time and money? Because really the most important thing that you want to keep doing is still writing. So yeah, I go into the 3 marketing methods that I recommend, the pros and cons to each of them, and when you should be using those marketing tactics. So once you go to this page, you're welcome to read it. Like, there's a whole bunch of, I got video testimonials from people who have worked with me in the past in group coaching and one-on-one coaching. And if you're interested, you can set up a time to chat with me. You could start your application. So you and I would have a 20-minute phone call to see whether or not this is a good fit for you or not. I'll be straight up. If it's not a good fit for you, I'll just tell you that you should do X, Z, or Y, X, Y, or Z before thinking about group coaching. And I'll tell you straight up, I'm not in the business of taking people's money just to take people's money. I want to make sure that I can give you a great amount of value before bringing you into the actual group coaching program. So yeah, you would start your application here. You answer a few questions, and you pick a time to chat with me, and we'll see if it's the right fit for you and your book and your goals currently. So that is it. Okay, so one user put, I'm just going to answer a question here. If I do take down a book, redo the cover, will I need a new ISBN? ISBNs is not my specialty. I want to lean more toward, I'm leaning towards no, but maybe someone else in the chat could give you a more confident answer. The only reason why I say that is because one of the only differences in Canada and the US, of course, there's tons of differences, but is that in Canada we get our ISBNs for free. So for me, ISBNs is not an issue. And here's the question here. You know, I can just do get ISBNs. It takes 5 minutes to get it, and I get it for free. I'm leaning towards no. Unless you significantly change something inside of the book. If you significantly change the story, then you would. But if you're just redoing the cover and the description and relaunching it, I am 90% sure that the answer is no, that you can continue on with the same ISBN that you're using. But if someone else who is in the US and has experience with relaunching, then they could certainly comment with that. But I'm 90% sure of that. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Thank you for joining me. This went way longer than I thought it was going to, but hopefully this was helpful. We went over the path that the reader takes, that being the cover, description, the reviews, and the look inside, and how important that is before we take any sort of marketing action, before we start spending time, energy, and money into marketing your book or spending time on social media, right? Again, the link for the group coaching, I'll put that in the comments. And if you are interested, set up a time. We'll chat one-on-one, see if it's the right fit for you and your book. Yeah, and Jane said, I understand Amazon would class this as a different edition. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.